Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Ladies, understand something. The top end of a woman's weight is 145 pounds. Okay. My mother's 5'9", and she was 145 pounds until she was 50. That's the top end of your weight, because there should be about a 40-pound difference between you and men.
Basically, if the guy is rich, what ends up happening is the lawyer contacts the person and be like, hey, you know, your name gonna be all in the paper, so you might as well just settle out of court.
I can recognize talent. Even if I don't agree with the politics, a lot of the politics that was underlying in the show and some of the sentiments he was trying to share, I recognize artistry when an artist is present.
Yes, this is the definition of absolutely cooked. We'll never go back and take a look at her bad decision and take accountability for any of that.
Because there is powerful people in the industry, somehow there is a different law that applies to them. And I agree with that assessment.
There we go. There we go. There we go. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, folks, man? Hey, I told you I was going to be spinning the block. We up late. I know I got some night owls out there. Salutes to you. Peace and blessings. I hope your week is blessed. If you got the late night shift, I appreciate you for tuning in. I'm experimenting. I don't know. We'll see how this work out. I'm testing the waters a little bit. You see the title. We're going to get into that here in a second, but I do want to give a shout out to my writers, my poets, all of them good people, beautiful folks. Rob, Sydney, Jason. Y'all know who y'all is, man. Much love to you. You don't typically see me around this hour. Most of y'all getting ready for the work week. So, you know, like I said, drive safe. Keep your eyes on the road. If you drink coffee, make sure you got your coffee. Make sure you got your clothes and everything organized, so you ain't stressing about leaving out in a hurry and you ain't dragging feet and all that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. To be honest, when this one was floating around on Instagram, I didn't really think much of it at the time because honestly, I wasn't really sure if people cared that much. I just saw a post. I didn't hear the audio. And one of the reasons why I want to address it personally is because one, I wanna let Miss Lennox know even though I doubt she sees this, I want to let her know she good. This has nothing to do with light skin, brown skin, dark skin. I can't even believe that this was even a comment in the first place. The only time I really heard anything negative about Martin was because of the fallout that they had on set, like the shit that was going on with Gina and him and Dwayne and all that. That anything outside of that, I wasn't expecting colorism to be an issue. And I damn sure wasn't expecting somebody in her position to say what she said out of her mouth. So I want to address it. I'm gonna play the audio. I'm gonna share my thoughts on it. I mean, why not? You know what I'm saying? We're gonna go into this work week with fresh eyes, a different perspective, and maybe some clarity, because I can't believe she even said what she said. I don't know if it was bait trolling or rage bait. I don't know what the fuck that was, but yeah, let me see something. This shit went viral. She really felt like Martin and the crew, or just in general, that there was an issue right there at that time with dark-skinned women. I might end up having to sit down with a few people about this one too, because there has been this weird back and forth about people looking at dark-skinned women like they're unattractive, and light-skinned men and women are more likely to be what everybody picks. Yeah, we're gonna have to get into this one a little bit deeper than I anticipated. So let me go ahead and play this clip, and then we'll proceed on with the show. Do me a solid, make sure you like, share, subscribe to the channel, repost, let the people know we on. I'm on Air Helmets. Don't really care who. We here, and we ain't going nowhere. So with that being said, let's jump into the clip.
About Martin was how much he would go on Pam. Like, I know, like, and this is coming from a girl who I love me a good, like, joking ass movie. And it even when the joking movie is like, damn, like, that was fucked up. Like, I'm not like too woke or something is what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm honestly not, I'm problematic. I'm pretty problematic, low key. But my point is that there are some things where I draw the line and it just bothered me. Or like, I don't know, it's like Pam was so fucking beautiful and so fine. And I just feel like growing up as a chocolate girl, like, I don't even know if I was able to understand the greatness of Pam because of the light that I feel like I was being fed. You know what I'm saying? Like, of just like always going on Pam, always, like, that's all I remember. And I didn't like that. But like, so I feel conflicted because while I feel like the show is incredible and I feel like Martin is a legendary show and all of the actors and Tommy and like everybody, like legendary, amazing. Like, I adore them all. Like, you have no idea. And I adore Martin. Like, I adore him. It just would piss me off, like the joking on Pam. I just didn't like that, like I'll always kind of feel a way about that. Like, that pissed me off about Martin
Uh Miss Ari Lennox, I'm a few years older than you, so I'm gonna help you out here. For starters, that show, the way that it was written, it absolutely had nothing to do with Gina being light skinned, getting preferential treatment over Pam. The way they wrote this, I should say, it was meant for them to go back and forth. You have that on every single show. There's the good guy, the bad guy, the dickhead, the friend that's cock blocking, that's always messy, always talking shit to the boyfriend. You always had it. You had the shit in fucking Seinfeld. You had it on Friends. You had it on Good Times. You had it on Three's Company. You had it on every show damn near. There was always that parallel between this person and that person. The Jeffersons, 227. This was multicultural. It's always been a thing. The writers of the show, they saw that there was such a chemistry there. You couldn't have pulled this off. Matter of fact, let's rewind it. Imagine Martin dating Pam and Gina trying to play the role of Pam. That shit would not have worked. There's no way in the world Gina could have pulled that off. Gina was your stereotypical bougie, uppity, light skinned chick that brought balance to a unruly, overly masculine guy who had a radio personality. Gina was the balance to him being loud and being obnoxious, and Gina could have never pulled off the type of jokes that Pam did. Gina was not built for that spot. Now, what I will say, and I'll confess, because they did have a habit of changing mothers in sitcoms. With the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, Aunt Vivian was black. Like, she was dark skinned. She was Wesley Snipes black. But they had issues. She went her way, they replaced her. But they did end up replacing her with a fucking light skinned woman. I could never understand how they thought we were supposed to just eat that one. If you're gonna do it, replace her with someone who is her complexion. We're still not gonna accept the shit, but at least put a little thought into it. Y'all just went on ahead and threw us a light skinned woman and said, "Hey, this is Aunt Vivian now. You'll be all right." Okay. Because it's the Fresh Prince at Bel-Air, though, we still watched it, but it was never the same without the darker Vivian on there. It never was. It's just there's certain characters that you can't mess with. You can't do reboots. You can't replace or do remakes. With Martin and Pam's relationship, the dynamic between them two. If you never grew up in the hood or grew up in this was the thing you got roasted on. People clowned you, and that's how it was. It didn't necessarily mean that this shit had anything to do with colorism or you're dark, so you slave looking such and such, and go back to the plantation. It wasn't that shit. They just had a different dynamic. Like, I mean, you gotta think about how the casting alone had to go. You can't replace Tommy. You can't replace Cole. You can't replace Pam. You can't even replace Hustle Man. Tracy Morgan. You know what I mean? People were on that platform back then. And if I'm not mistaken, you might have had two people out the entire cast that was lighter skinned. And that was Gina and that was Louise. Everybody else was my complexion or darker. So the narrative that I'm getting that he was bullying her, or the crew was bullying her, nah. I think you're making it bigger than what it is. See, I don't think what you said was technically malicious. I think the only reason you're probably offended by it somewhat is because of maybe you had some experiences that weren't so pleasant. And it didn't have nothing to do with this show. But on top of that, I do have to admit that darker skinned women always have had a tougher time with TV time, with being put in like mainstream television. Matter of fact, forget all that. Pam did go on to star in her own syndications outside of Martin. She thrived. She's done her thing. Tracy Ellis Ross. Cookie Lion. I can't think of her name right now, so I'm just gonna call her Cookie. But you know what I'm talking about. I don't think this was really a big deal. I think you're a little more affected by it because of how your upbringing was and the type of kids you were around and shit like that. They wrote this shit specifically for them to clown on each other. That's how this was. What was it, that was so offensive to you that you feel like a line was crossed? Gina wouldn't have been able to handle this. You just have certain people who are just naturally good at playing a specific type. And Pam has always been like that aggressive, rough, sensual, a little too masculine of a black woman, man. She always had that character everywhere she went. I don't think I've seen her on one show that I can think of that she's been soft. She's always been brawly. This was just how they played it out. If you went back and asked anybody on that cast if any of this had something to do with colorism, her being too dark, and they put her in that position because they don't want dark-skinned women to star on shows, and you better go ask Harriet. You better go ask Vivian. You better go to Parenthood and ask that mom. We had some dark-skinned sisters. Matter of fact, now that I'm thinking about it, the Parkers, Moesha, we had a few darker complected women that had some major roles. And back then, you got to realize too, Martin ain't have nothing to do with the type of programs that the Fresh Prince did. That shit wasn't that. Fresh Prince was based on real life, but it added comedy to it. Family Manners was the same way. Martin was nothing like that. That shit was ahead of its time for everybody, including myself. That didn't have nothing to do with childhood trauma and bullying in school and cheerleading and football, and complete opposite. I think what you expressed was innocent, but on the flip side, what I think I'm getting from it is, and I'm probably just reading more into it. I like to expand on shit. I think that as a darker skinned woman, you're expressing the different ways that you were treated versus a lighter skinned woman was growing up. And maybe something today triggers you and it made you think about this, but nobody ever, ever since I started watching. Now I've watched every episode 10, 15 times over and then some from season 1 to the end. Nobody's ever said Pam was ugly. Nobody. Nobody dogged her out. Plus, it's a show. They're there to crack jokes. That's it. It's about entertainment, making you laugh. If you really had an issue with something, it wouldn't. It wouldn't, and it shouldn't be this of all things. Not Mark. You would have had a better argument if you would have said something about Vivian, because they just replaced her. He up and took her off and put somebody in her spot. I could have understood if you spoke on that, but you're talking about a woman that not a single black man I know has ever said she was ugly. Most of us think she looks better than Gina. Most of us, I personally always thought she had a better connection with Martin than Gina did. Men don't have nothing against dark skinned women. We love the chocolate sisters. Most prefer them. This ain't got nothing to do with preference. This ain't got nothing to do with society looking over you and going straight to the red bone because they're the closest thing to white. I hope that ain't your point or your narrative. Chocolate sisters are amazing. I don't go off stereotypes and stigmas, but if you are reflecting the traits and attributes of a hood booger, you shall be met with equal scrutiny. Sorry. Nah, man. Martin in that show, it had its problems, but it was never about her complexion. It never had anything to do with Pam being darker than Gina and her getting equally dismissed, or it wasn't that. The fellas love Pam. Matter of fact, most of my fondest memories of Martin is Pam and Martin going back and forth at it. Gina was never funny to me. Am I the only one that believe? I don't think Gina was funny at all. Gina, she was the token light skinned chick that everybody thought had the most sense. Martin was the one who was always erratic, kicking people out the house, had the jokes, was rude, obnoxious, whatever you want to call it. Gina was his balance. But Pam was not built for that. The way Martin's show is set up, Gina couldn't Gina couldn't play Pam, Pam couldn't play Gina. Nobody would have ever accepted or watched it. I wouldn't have been able to watch it. It would have been impossible. You take, I put it like this. You fast forward from Martin, you take Gina and you put her on My Wife and Kids. She's great. That dynamic between her and Damon Wayans, smooth. She had more freelance, more range to allow her character to be funny, not excessively I'm trying too hard, but they meshed better. The character that Gina plays is one of those. I can be a wife with somebody who how can I explain it? It's a certain type of person that you can put with another person that helps them bring out that character. Damon Wayans, his comedic strengths are different than Martin's, and their whole show dynamic is completely different. My Wife and Kids were pretty much My Wife and Kids. They're raising a family. Martin is a show where you're kind of just, you got a radio talk show host, you got a woman who is working in the office and she's always wearing suit and ties and shit. She don't have kids, so she can't display that motherly thing. She's a girlfriend. She's a girlfriend that's constantly, it always seems like she's trying to babysit Martin, or she's always depending on him to bring her out of her comfort zone. She was always stuck up with Martin. Martin had to have the jokes. He had to be, and she had to be the sensible one. On My Wife and Kids, she let loose more. She had more range to be able to do little stuff, because that was the difference between those two shows. Now, if you take Pam and try to put her in the girlfriend position with Damon Wayans on that show, it would not have worked. But she can do it with Everybody Hates Chris. It worked over there. Put it like this. And I mean, this is just how they wrote these shows. Damon Wayans was the leader in the house. Gina wasn't walking all over him. For real. That man ran his house. Pam is aggressive. Pam always was written like a overly aggressive chick. That's why she was able to do as well as she did with Julius. He was scared of her. Martin and Pam could have never made that work. But I understand what you're trying to say. Light-skinned women got treated differently versus the darker-skinned women. But I don't even agree with that. You're upset at something that probably triggered you when you were a kid. It doesn't really have nothing to do with that. And on top of that, it's a fucking TV show. It's fictional. Show of hands, how many people watch Martin for Martin and Pam and not Martin and Gina? Give me a segment. Give me one episode outside of the one where Gina big ass head got stuck in the headboard. Give me one episode where Gina was like, I don't know. Oh, I can give you one more, but that was just off the fact that she ate some shit or she put some shit on her face that got it all swole, and they had to go to the dance or the reunion with Pretty Ricky, what they called him. she's not funny to me. She never was. She's a good actress. But as far as the humor, that's never been her strongest suit. She can adopt it. She can't have it. So Miss Lennox, I seen some of the people saying, they're trying to defend you and they're saying they are just doing way too much. I think they are. I don't know if you're necessarily attacking or trying to imply something more than what people are making it, but I do get it. I promise, I get it. But that's just how it was written. Now let me ask you a question. Since you know about Martin, I know you got to know about Abbott Elementary. I know you got to know about Everybody Hates Chris. Did she get treated unjustly? Did you watch Blackish? Did you watch the show with Cedric the Entertainer? And Tracy Ellis Ross played in what, 3 TV shows that I think of. One of them I can't even remember the name. Rest in peace to Malcolm Jamal Warner. That was one of them. She was his wife or his girlfriend in that show. Then she was a wife in Blackish. Girlfriends don't count to me, but you can bring it up for discussion. You've had some darker skinned women on some shows, but you always had a show where there was at least one light skinned man or woman on it. It never failed. I don't know why they set it up like that. Cartoons, wherever, you always had one. Just like if you had a white television show, there was always one black person. Damn, that girl. Who's that girl? What the fuck is the name of? I just started watching that shit a couple years ago. They had one black dude. They had two, but they really rotated them. They only really technically had one black dude. They do that on every show. There's always one race of something. There's always more of one and less of the others. Is that by choice? Is that by chance? Could it be colorism? Could there be some type of symbolism behind them doing it that way? It could very well be. Nobody ever thought Pam was ugly, though. And you watched Martin, so I know damn well how you forget the episode where Martin kept on having dreams about Pam. And the nigga thought he was lusting after her and he wanted to fuck her. You don't remember them dreams he had about her? And he couldn't sleep and he was losing his fucking mind. And then somebody told him, look, you're going to have to see the dream through, man. You're going to have to see it all the way through. And he dropped the fucking, he got her over the house. She had on like the purple, man. That purple was fire. Pam always had the better body. Gina, to me, never had that shape. You could tell Pam was a sister, man. Stacked. She was stacked. Mine go back to sleep, have his dream. Gina pissed off because this nigga keep on fucking up her sleep. So he go back into his dream sequence. He get Pam to come over. She got on that purple. And a part of me was like, man, I hope he smashed Pam, but I knew he wasn't gonna let him do that shit because he got her in the room. She get to the bed. This nigga stand at the door, pull a fucking lever, drop a this nigga drop a piano or some shit on her. That shit was hilarious. He had thoughts about her. And don't forget Miss Trinidad. Don't forget Cole. Don't forget Miss Fluffy. Miss Bunny. You know, come on, man. You forgot about Jerome. Jerome was all up on Pam, man. She was fucking around with Martin a little bit, technically. Martin and Pam's relationship on there was what it was. We talk shit to each other. We rock with each other. We cool for real. But nah, we going into that roasting session. It's mandatory. That was their thing. It didn't have nothing to do with her being dark skinned. Need you to go ahead and get that out. And the only reason why I think that this came up was because you were having a conversation with someone, reminiscing about old shows, probably. I really don't think you meant much harm. And now that you're older, you understand that it's not as deep. And what happens is the viewers that listen to what y'all celebrities say, if they don't understand the context, they will completely reshape that shit to sound like something that it really wasn't meant. I think you good though. I'm not really gonna sit here. Put it this way. I already know your inbox is full. I know you ain't responding to no DMs. And it's all men willing to risk it all for you. Hundreds of them. I'm certain of it. I've never been more certain in my life. There's not a single woman on this planet that looks halfway decent that don't have a private message from a guy, whether or not you find them attractive or not. Maybe when you were younger, you're probably an uggo. I grew up with some uggos or some less attractive people. Nobody wanted to deal with them. And then you blossom the older you get. And you see them later on, it's like, damn, that's the same person. I don't know if that was your situation, but if that's what this is, and yeah, I think perspective matters. Do we live in a world where there are specific complexions that benefit the most when opportunities arise? Yes, they are. 100%. However, I'm gonna have to ask a question about it. But preferences are preferences. You can't get mad at that. If a person likes and prefers Asians or Latinas over black women, that's not a direct attack or insult or assault on you personally. that's just their preference. Just like you don't want nobody short or broke. That's all. It's all about interpretation. And maybe when you grew up, you weren't really you weren't on the list of most desirable. Maybe. Just maybe. I mean, you said it in this clip, you know, the way that you saw the show, you laughed, you fucked with it, but it was almost confusing to you because you at that age you're looking at this and all you hear and see is someone dumping on someone that's your complexion. You think that this has anything to do with you just being darker skinned. It's not that. It could have been. It could be. I could be wrong. I never saw it. But I always wondered why he always had a darker skinned woman with a lighter skinned dude, or you never see two dark skinned people under the same roof except for maybe the Fresh Prince or like I said, Family Matters or 227, something like that. Good times, for fuck's sake. I don't think put it put it this way, TV wasn't as corrupt. It was still fucked up. People were still doing feisty shit to each other on them shows then, but it wasn't as bad as it is now. That's all I'm saying. Nah, that's Lennox. You blew that out of proportion. Maybe we are blowing it out of proportion. But I think it is something that we should be talking about. I honestly don't, I could never treat one culture different than another. You're all going to equally have the opportunity to be vetted by me if I'm attracted to you. Doesn't really make a difference where you are in the coloring book or in that crayon box. And I think that's the same thing that was going on back then. How do I know? Cole wanted her. She dated Tommy for a little minute. She had a couple of dudes that were her complexion. They didn't just dog her out, man. You're only going after Martin because Martin was the one that was dogging her out. But she was holding her own. She was going throwing them back. Gina couldn't have did that. There wouldn't be a Martin if Gina was role switching with Pam. That shit wouldn't have lasted that many seasons. They casted them perfectly. Whether or not they had some uncomfortable backstage drama, Martin and Pam by far was one of the best rivalries in history. Not that's just my opinion. I'm curious to know how y'all feel. Who was the greatest TV show rivalry? Yeah, I'm gonna have to string something together on that. I'm curious. You blew it out of proportion though. It's cool. It's not that big of a deal. You're an attractive woman. You're absolutely operating from low self-esteem to be bringing up something from all them years ago. How are you still holding on to that? Those are jokes. They were written as jokes. Pam was my favorite woman on it all. I kind of wanted him and Martin to hook up, her and Martin to hook up. I was never really fond of Gina like that. She always came off snooty, and I don't like that bougie shit. Pam was more grounded. She looked like the type that'd get in the mud with you. Gina wasn't on that. It worked. Based on characters, they couldn't have done a better job. Don't think you will ever be able to duplicate that. You could never. They tried to revamp the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. That shit was awful. They failed miserably. They should never have attempted that at all. I watched one episode. One episode. And I couldn't watch nothing else. You couldn't pay me to watch that shit. Nah, like seriously. I know Easy the Block Captain was in it. That's cool, I guess. But nah, there is no rewriting the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I tried. I tried to like it. I tried to get. I couldn't. So yeah, Miss Ari, you good? You straight? You ain't ugly. You got a nice little something going on with you. I don't think you tripping off of it. You shouldn't be. That just seemed like a post that blew up out of proportion. But I don't think it's that deep. I don't think you think it's that deep. I just leave it at that. The colorism thing, it's real. They do have specific people working specific jobs. I've seen it. I know you've seen it. Nah, it's not that. It's not that deep, though. I understand you. I feel you, though. We love the Chocolate Sisters, though. You know, but the fucked up thing about it is, I gotta go back and do some homework. I don't think I've ever seen a light skinned woman with a nasty ass attitude on these shows, though. It always seemed to be a darker skinned woman. Maybe that's another issue that you had, the way they depict dark skin. I could be wrong, but that would make more sense than you thinking that the idea is to make darker skinned women look like they're ugly or unattractive. That's the furthest thought from my brain when I look at her. Yeah. What do y'all think though? Do you understand where she's coming from? Is she wrong? Is she right? Was she looking into that too much? I think she's looking into it too much. I don't even think this shit got anything to do with Pam at all. I think that goes further than her. It's something that happened between her mom and her dad and family. Maybe a horrible experience with a spouse or something. I don't know. I don't know. But I want to salute everybody who hung out with me tonight. It's a test run. 'Cause I'm thinking about possibly doing these more. We'll find out though. I am spinning the block tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern. It's about to be a full week. Drive safe. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening. I will see you tomorrow, Lord willing.